Welcome to Subramani. Uh, Today I'm going to talk to you about a phenomena where the importance of the IFA or the RIA is actually decreasing, or rather, let me put it this way, the role of the individual in getting assets for the asset management industry, that is the AMC business, is decreasing. A few years ago, perhaps about 5-6 years ago, I had said IFA RIP 2022. RIP has not really happened, but the role of the IFA, or the guy who brought money to the AMC business, is definitely going down. Let us talk of one big fund where it used to be about 50% used to come from the IFA, is now down to 12%. That is a big fall. Now, if you look at it, that's about 38% fall, but you look at how many IFAs must have gone out of business for that to happen. What happens in any industry is when one person starts getting compensated less, much less than what he used to get or she used to get compensated earlier, they quietly look for some other business and leave. Take the airline industry. The industry has boomed, but the number of people going to the travel agent to buy a ticket has definitely gone down, and gone down dramatically. Now, nothing right or wrong about this. The job of the economy or the economics or of the market is to allocate the money according to the worth they think that a person is delivering. So a company has a chairman and a company, and let's say an asset management company has the chairman at the highest, which means he is representing the shareholders, and the IFA who is representing the unit holders. Now all of them are compensated, and how much each person should be compensated is decided by the market. Unfortunately, the markets are not a real free market. There will always be regulators who will decide at what price what can be sold. Now take the vegetable market. There is no regulator, but still the market finds its own levels of pricing. There will always be a nice air-conditioned shop where things will be washed, cleaned, put in an envelope, put in a plastic pack and kept ready for you so that you can straight go home and cook it, right? Now that obviously will be at say 120 rupees a kilo, and just across the lane there will be somebody who is selling you the same vegetable at 30 rupees a kilo or 25 rupees a kilo. There is a value add done by somebody, and because of which there is differential pricing. Now when the push comes to shove and more people are looking at value buying, more and more people will buy it at 30 rupees and say it's okay, let me wash it. I will not pay such a premium of 90 rupees for washing. So, well, both markets will coexist. There will be somebody who says I don't have the time to do it, and there will be somebody who says I have the time to do it. So there's nothing right wrong about it. But the death of the small advisor is not going to hurt the industry at all. In fact, not going to hurt the industry much for sure, and perhaps not at all, because the work of the small IFA or even the big IFA will be taken over by banks, will be taken over by fintech companies and all of them, and the industry, and rightly so perhaps, believes that this person will just be replaced by the technology and banks, etc. I'm not getting into whether it is right or wrong. Yes, everything will happen. There will be the role for an IFA who is now called an MFD, because the word advisor is not liked by the great SEBI. There will be an RIA to whom people will go for advice and then decide to invest directly, and then there will be the other agencies like banks will definitely increase in importance and size, and they will also, all these people will contribute, and the size of the market will only increase. The agent disappearing in the airline industry did not reduce air travel. In fact, if anything, I don't think people today consider traveling by train at all. They just look at the airfare and they book. They don't see how much is the second AC fare or the third AC fare. I remember even 10 years ago when the new airlines and all that come, maybe 15 years ago, People used to compare and say, oh, second AC, third AC and airfare, and they would compare and they would justify a 500 rupee hike in the airfare. They were not really bothered too much about it because they thought it was convenient. But today people have just got over that habit. People don't compare, people just go and book by air, and they go to Google, then they will go to Ease My Trip, they'll go to Make My Trip, they will go to Curly Tails, they will look for deals everywhere, and then they will go and do the booking. That's fine, that's fair enough. Now that is exactly what happens even in the financial advisory business. People will, but the great thing is the regulator believes that the unpaid young small IFA who is starting his career will put the client's interest first. Now that to me is amusing, because for a person to put the client's interest first, his stomach has to be full. So if a person is going to earn 2 lakhs of rupees or 3 lakhs of rupees in the business of distributing mutual funds, the question is, will he be there at all in the business? Now, when I'm asking you this question, what I mean is, earlier a particular class of society of people came into mutual fund distribution because they were happy that they were earning 2-3 lakhs, and this I'm talking of 20 years back. And they were always hoping that one day they will be able to earn enough money to buy themselves a car, a house, etc., etc. And I know IFAs who can afford a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce or an Audi. There is that category. However, looking at that category and to think that all distributors make that kind of money is like looking at Sachin Tendulkar and say, wow, cricket pays very well. Cricket does not pay very well to the people who are below the top 100 or maybe below the top 150, right? You need to understand, when you talk of averages, you have to pick up 10,000. So pick up 10,000 fund distributors and compare them to 10,000 chartered accountants or 10,000 lawyers or 10,000 doctors, and you will realize that if you leave out the top 100 IFAs, and I'm not even exaggerating, then the average income is ridiculously low. They would not be paying, no question of paying GST. They would not be paying income tax because they wouldn't have taxable income, or their taxable income would be way below 5 lakhs, right? So this is the truth. This is what exists. There is Himanshu Vyapak now of CIEL, which was started by Uma, who is making a great attempt in increasing the number of advisors. More power to him. But if you cannot promise that the person will earn at least 4-5 lakhs to start with, because that's the kind of salary a decent person is able to today get in the industry. I mean, not just in the industry, whether it is technology, whether it is BFSI. What is the incentive for the person to come into this profession? And even if he came to put the client's interest first, I don't think that is going to happen. And he always has a sister business of selling life insurance, where he will easily earn that kind of money because the commissions there are higher. Do we have one regulator who says you cannot sell insurance if you sell mutual funds, or you cannot sell mutual funds if you sell insurance? No. So many people would shift to selling life insurance, and I'm not talking whether life insurance is a good product or a bad product, but it pays better to the guy who is selling, right? So a guy who's starting his career, who needs to make at least 25,000-30,000 rupees a month to meet his own personal expenses, his family expenses, etc., would easily shift to a product which looks similar, touch and feel is similar, rather than sit and slog his butt in selling mutual funds, hoping to earn money in trail after 5-6 years with a whimsical regulator who is perfectly capable of saying, oh, we will stop trail. In fact, one very big journalist came and told me that I think I'm going to suggest to SEBI that they should stop giving trail after 5 years. And I said, wow, you must be a genius. You really know how things work. So she asked, why are you saying this? I said, do you even realize what is AUM transfer and what can happen? So largely, there are a lot of people who will give advice, but if the guy at the bottom of the pyramid can't even cover his scooter fare, there is no way how he is going to remain in the profession, and that is perfectly fine by the guy who is investing 20 crores. He will get good advice. The guy who is investing 20,000 rupees, he is not going to get advice. Yes, he can see online what is to be done, he can be a DIY, he can invest, and I have perfect feeling that all this will happen. But there will be some boomerang. Some people who leave an advisor, go back, try doing a DIY, then not being able to DIY might come back here. I call them boomerangs. So let us see what happens. Interesting space to watch. Thank you.